Immigration must be a priority for this administration.
So many of the people who were coming illegally.
An economic boom drew millions of people to the U.S. in the 1990s just as limits on legal immigration were increased. At the same time, the number of unauthorized immigrants was also on the rise.
The sense that nobody was in charge, that this was happening outside of the laws, was increasingly resented by people on the ground who were experiencing changes in their communities.
They keep coming. 2 million illegal immigrants in California.
By 1993, anti-immigrant sentiment had reached a new high. Beginning in the 1970s, a growing number of Americans wanted to decrease the country's level of immigration. 42% held this view in 1977, then nearly 50% a decade later. In 1993, the number spiked at 65%, leading into the heated debate around Proposition 187 in California.
But now the rules are being broken. There's a right way and there's a wrong way.
Prop 187 aimed to ban illegal immigrants from receiving state services. Then Governor Pete Wilson, a Republican, ran a re-election campaign centered on pushing the ballot measure.
They develop and they exercise the civic duty to organize themselves and to attack anybody who were pro-immigrant.
Pete Wilson and Prop 187 didn't make any distinction whether you were Mexican or whether you were Guatemalan or whether you were Salvadoran. Everybody was being tagged as being a lawbreaker and being undocumented and being here to harm this country. And so it forced us all to come together.
This Republican won a second term.
People of California have passed Proposition 187.
Meanwhile, just south of San Diego, immigrants were rushing the border after sundown, triggering face-offs with Border Patrol. California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein called on Attorney General Janet Reno to address the issue. Reno went to Meisner for help.
The Attorney General came back to me and said, do something about the border.
In Texas, a border security chief in El Paso was trying a new approach that was being pointed to as a model.
His idea was, I'm going to have as much visible presence right close to the border as possible in order to prevent people from ever coming into the country in the first place. It also just shut down the unlawful crossing. The next year we went to the Congress with a very big budget request.
Last night, the federal government began what it calls Operation Gatekeeper.
It continued. This whole idea is that immigrants were a problem for this country.
Despite the new strategy, Congress couldn't keep up with what was happening on the ground.
The illegal traffic relocated itself. The adaptation and the adjustment to changing routes happened more quickly than the Border Patrol and the Immigration Service and the Congress and the overall appropriations process, et cetera, was ever able to really move.
The White House expanded the list of reasons that could keep someone from entering the U.S. or were grounds for deportation. Yet the administration couldn't clamp down on employers who were hiring illegal workers.
And we were not able to succeed with a robust employer enforcement program. And I regret that.
We must never, ever believe that our diversity is a weakness. It is our greatest strength.
As Clinton's term came to a close, Prop 187 was killed in federal court 5 years after it had passed, and anti-immigrant sentiment was on the decline. But a new president was about to put immigration front and center.